Hey, what is going on, everybody? It's your boy Jordan Cameron, back with another video today. And today we're going to continue to discuss our thesis, guys, right? And obviously there's a lot of things going on in the world right now. And we'll talk about all those things going on in the world and how I believe they're just narratives, and why we should be paying attention to the charts, and why we just continue to follow our thesis and continue to follow our game plan of the biggest blow off top in crypto history before the biggest bubble pop in crypto history. All right. So without further ado, let's not waste any time and let's just jump on into the video, guys. So for anyone new to the channel and anyone new to the videos here, we've been discussing since about February of this year, right? February, March, down at the lows where Bitcoin was sitting down here at the 50 moving average band at about 76,000. And total market cap came down to about 2.31 trillion. We've been discussing since that point that we expect Bitcoin to bounce into new all-time highs, which we've already seen. And we expect the total market cap chart to also break into new all-time highs, which we have not seen yet. We are hitting our first resistance on total market cap and getting a shallow pullback, but that does not change our thesis of why we think that we're going to see the biggest blow off top in crypto history before we see the biggest bear market in crypto history. So I first want to say this without, before we even jump onto the video, I am not a perma bull, guys. I do think what comes after this big up blow off top is going to be the biggest bubble pop in crypto history. And a lot of people are going to be very, very upset during that time. So I am not a perma bull. I'm sticking to my thesis here. And let's explain why, right? So, for anyone new to the channel, right, we're expecting the total cryptocurrency market cap to get a blow off top by the end of this year to about 10 trillion, which is the 4236 Fibonacci extension of our previous bull market high to our bear market low. The 4236 extension comes right in there at that level. And also, if we kind of look at this from a structural standpoint, if we have this on log scale for the total cryptocurrency market cap, we can see that from the 2017 peak to the two 2021 peaks. If we extend this out towards the end of this year, it happens to be a coincidence that we get the 4236 Fibonacci level right where the top of this bigger rising wedge, which is a bearish pattern. So though I do believe that we will see the biggest blow off top in crypto history up to this 10 trillion point up to the top of this rising wedge, I do expect this rising wedge to break to the downside and ultimately be the biggest bubble pop in crypto history. All right, but first, let's discuss this, right? So obviously in the previous bull market, we also did hit a 4236 Fibonacci. So if we took our Fibonacci and we just added on real quick, if we could, that would be great. I guess the Fibonacci's don't want to work today for us when we double click on it, but we did also hit a 4236 Fibonacci in that 2021 peak. So a lot of confluence up there at the top of that rising wedge. And once again, I'll say this, when there is a narrative, which right now, right, what's the narrative? The narrative is the new war mongering, right? The fear mongering out there because of the war that's going on, or the war that's potentially going to start, and it's fearing everyone out of the markets. And we've seen this a couple times in this bull market before, this is just going to be another catalyst to short term push the prices slightly lower, fear people, and continue for Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency market cap to climb the wall of worry. Okay, what did we have at the bottom down here? We had the tariff fear, and when everyone was fearful, that ended up being the lows. And if you bought during that time, you were extremely successful at the 50 moving average band, just like we discussed. Back down during this consolidation, on every pullback, there was different war things going on, different there was war fear mongering going on down here too. We hit the 50 moving average band and we saw Bitcoin bounce. And over here, there was fear of multiple different things. We hit the 50 moving average band and we ultimately bounced. So our thesis continues to be that we are expecting this blow off top, and we're going to go over why and why nothing has changed again, despite the little short-term pullback. Because people tend to get a little antsy when you get short-term pullbacks on things. And why we're going to continue to stay zoomed out, and what's our invalidation. So our invalidation for this thesis of the 10 trillion total market cap blow off top is simply, once again, Bitcoin getting any type of weekly closure below the 50 moving average band, because historically in every bull market, once Bitcoin has broken the 50 moving average band on a weekly close, that has been the end of the nail in the coffin, and basically you wanting to get out of the market for a few years. This is when we did it in 2021. If you come over here, this is when we did it in 2018. And both those times, you probably, say sayonara. You're not really going too much higher for the crypto market cap for about 2 to 3 years past that point. So right now, our invalidation for this, and we continue to remain the biggest bulls on the interwebs until Bitcoin gets a weekly closure below the 50 moving average band. Right now, that is 84,000 to about 85 or 86,000, right? 84 to 86,000. Obviously, this moves up every single week that goes by as long as Bitcoin's above it. So as long as Bitcoin continues to stay above that 50 moving average band, once again, we remain long-term bulls, macro bulls, and looking for Bitcoin to continue into higher prices, okay? Which we still expect on this channel, that Bitcoin is going to continue into higher prices and drag up the altcoin market with it. And let's discuss why we believe that, okay? Let's discuss why we believe that. So not only is, the total market cap chart actually coming pretty close back to our macro support, which is simply from the COVID lows of this rising wedge, we've seen the biggest impulses off this level. So March of 2020, August of 2023, we saw this giant impulse. September 2024, we saw this giant impulse. And then obviously we came back down here, had a slight wick below with a tariff fear in April 2025, which is this year right here. And you guys can see that I believe that this impulse is just starting, and we're about to see a bigger impulse up to that 4236 Fibonacci level. Now, can we come back down and test this again? Abso-freaking-lutely. Abso-freaking-lutely we can come down and test this again, which would be, approximately, from this point, another 7% down on total market cap. That's certainly possible, right? People are going to be fearful short term. They're going to read news headlines. Retail is going to sell out on news headlines, but the smart money is going to continue to look for where they think this market is going in the high time frames, which is what we're doing on this channel. Okay, we're not focusing on short-term news headlines. That's what people did with tariffs, and now they had to FOMO back in, and now they're probably down because they FOMO'd back in at the top after they got bullish, right? So let's discuss why, once again, we're thinking we're going to go to that 10 trillion market cap, guys. Well, once again, let's go to our stablecoin dominance chart. So if you haven't been watching the channel, you haven't been following the channel, this is the biggest main reason of why we believe that the cryptocurrency market cap is going higher, right? So this is the stablecoin dominance chart. And you guys can see since late 2023, we've simply been in a range between about 8% and about 5%, right? And you guys can see right now we're about that 6.76%. Now, when we got up into this zone back over here in early 2025, we discussed how we would think this is going to reject, and stablecoin dominance is going to come back down, at least to the back down to the bottom of the range. And we know that stablecoin dominance is the inverse of the total cryptocurrency market. So, right, if stablecoin dominance goes down, cryptocurrency goes up. If stablecoin dominance goes up, if stablecoin dominance goes up, cryptocurrency goes down, right? A little bit of a tongue twister there. So we're about in the middle of the range. We're seeing a little bit of a pullback up, right? The inverse pullback for the stablecoin dominance chart. But what we're expecting is once this pullback is over for stablecoin dominance, this is going to continue back down, simply to back down to the bottom of the range. And if we're expecting this to come back down to the bottom of the range, well then, once again, we're expecting total market cap to continue to break into new all-time highs over the next coming weeks to months. And I believe it's going to be closer to the weeks. I don't think it's going to take months to see the total cryptocurrency market cap break into new all-time highs here. I think we're getting enough time capitulation here, though I think we could still get one wick on some fear news in the short term. I think we're getting pretty close to the time capitulation standpoint here for the market to get into those price discovery points. So Back over here, we are expecting this to come back down to the bottom of the range, but kind of like we've been saying with our bigger thesis, this is going to come back down to the range and cause the bigger total market cap blow off top, where everyone thinks crypto will change the world. Everyone thinks that, their coin that they're holding is the next banana, the next sliced bread, the next thing that their uncle is going to ask them about at Thanksgiving. But in reality, that's probably when most people will pile in, when everyone believes, after we climb the wall of worry, and then we'll get the biggest bubble pop in crypto history after that point, which will be caused, in my opinion, by this giant Wyckoff accumulation structure for the stablecoin chart. You guys can see if we do expect this to come to the range lows, we would have sort of a triple tap on the range lows for stablecoin dominance. And then I do believe that this is going to be an expansionary move for stablecoin dominance, which would then, probably caused by some fear event or, some type of deeper recession for the US heading into late 2020s, which would then be the sort of .com bubble 2.0, where all the useless coins and BS goes to zero and only the strong crypto projects survive. Probably, I'm not going to name names, but I would guess it would be, Bitcoin, ETH, XRP, Solana, Chainlink, things that, have some type of use case, and then everything else goes to pretty much zero, right? So that's kind of the main thesis here. Stablecoin dominates, Wyckoff accumulation, total market cap, blow off top, and bubble pop, all right? Now, what also can we look at to say, why we expect prices to go higher, why we expect Bitcoin to go higher, which would drag some altcoins up, not all, but some, okay? Well, the global liquidity chart, and that continues to rise here, although at a very, shorter, smaller pace here throughout this period. But this is the stablecoin dominance chart with, I do believe I have a 70-day lag on this. And you can see that Bitcoin has followed this since about late 2023, almost to a T. All right, when we see this go up with a 70-day lag, we see Bitcoin follow. When we see stablecoin dominance go sideways or down, we see Bitcoin go sideways and down. We go up again, right, with Bitcoin and stablecoin dominance. Or sorry, I'm so stuck on stablecoin dominance. With global liquidity and Bitcoin, once again, we come down. We bottomed here on global liquidity 3 months or 70 days before Bitcoin did. Bitcoin bottoms. We come up, global liquidity, short little pullback here, you guys can see. And what we're expecting the next move to be is probably the most impulsive move for Bitcoin, right, into price discovery. So I'm expecting over the next, I don't know how long it's going to take, guys, but if I'm just going off the global liquidity chart, I don't think it's going to take too much longer. I think right now the market's kind of pricing in this war fear, and maybe we get another news headline that gets a little bit of a wick lower. Certainly possible. Never, 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 never say never. But ultimately, the macro, the weekly, monthly time frames, I do believe are going to continue higher because global liquidity has continued higher, and Bitcoin has done nothing but follow it for the past year and a half to a T with a 70-day lag. All right, so that's another reason why we think Bitcoin's going to go higher. Right now, we're caught in the war, people fearful, nothing really going on, kind of the summer doldrums type of thing. All right, now what else can we look at, right? What else can we look at to say we think the crypto market is going higher, right? Well, I think there's two other things we can look at. And if we go over to the Ethereum chart, this is the telltale sign for altcoins, right? I think right now you're seeing altcoins pull back again, simply because I think a lot of people are paying attention to this Ethereum chart. And Ethereum right now is at its biggest level, I would think, really since way back down here in mid 2020, right? Right before Ethereum went on its, sort of absolute home run hitter 2020 and 2021. You guys can see this massive resistance here throughout 2018, 2019, and 2020. Ethereum finally broke through, but it was a fight, man. It was a fight for about 3 years down here. And if we kind of look at where we're at now, man, this is a fight. This is a fight for Ethereum, and I think a lot of people that are holding altcoins, a lot of big money, a lot of smart money is watching this level right here, because you guys can see that this, for almost 3 years, was major macro support from 2022 to 2025. Support. We broke down, and what are we doing now? We are deciding, and dude, you guys can just see the weekly chart on Ethereum. We are deciding whether this wants to break back above and start to rip like it did in 2020, where it finally broke through this massive like $300 resistance that you got multiple rejections from, finally broke through, retested, off to the races. And I think that's what we're watching right now. Can Ethereum break out, retest, and go off to the races? Or are we all going to be sad and this ends up being what was previous support flipping into resistance? The thing we got to watch here for the altcoin market, as I think, is this chart. It's right at the 50 moving average band, which we know Bitcoin's above, Ethereum is below and testing now, and right below that previous support into resistance. So watching that like a hawk with Ethereum, I think once again, it's going to come down to Bitcoin. You get Bitcoin to break into price discovery. I think you're going to get Ethereum breaking above there, and that's going to be the true, real start of the altcoin movement. But until then, still watching ETH right here. The other thing that we can take a look at real quick before I let you guys go is the sentiment in the market, man. The sentiment in the market right now is absolutely decimated, right? I'm just to refresh this. This is the block. Great website. I would use this, guys. It's very, very useful. This is the crypto apps ranking on the US App Store, and I basically pay attention to Coinbase on this. Guys, we're down in the 400s, or, it's back half 300s here. And you're talking about the levels, right? If we look at this chart and just focus on the yellow line here, we're at levels and peak doldrum times for the crypto market that we haven't seen since all the way back here in like September and October of 2024. And, you guys can see, if we take a look at the total 3 chart, which also has its own rising wedge, by the way, own rising wedge. I do expect this to be a blow off top before a bubble pop for total 3, right? If you guys look at this, where were we in September and October of 2024, right? Where were we? We were actually in this little boring doldrum right before we back tested, we broke out of this trend line, and then we went off to the races, right? And you guys can see we've already broken out. We're coming back down to retest. That's the last time that sentiment was all the way down here in the 400s, late 300s. It was October and September of 2024. And here we are in October, or at those same levels down here. Throughout June, we've been at those levels. So are we getting ready once again? And I think we are, to simply see this move right here when sentiment is shot, but we've already broken out. Sentiment is shot. I think we're about to see that move again for the total 3 chart. It's just going to take some patience, and it's just going to take sitting back and watching to see if Bitcoin, Big Daddy, can break out. But man, I got to tell you, Bitcoin just chilling at its previous all-time high. Man, this is getting interesting, guys. I think, we're talking about the market being boring for about a month up here. Man, I don't think it's going to be boring for too much longer. I doubt that we're going to stay at these levels up here at the high 100Ks without either breaking up or down very much longer. I think we're going to see a move. My bet is to the upside. We still could get one more wick to the downside, but my ultimate bet is that we're going to see a move to the upside, my guys. And we're going to see this market go absolutely bananas for the back half of 2025. All right. So that's been your boy Jordan Cameron. Kind of a longer video today. We're talking about 20-minute video. I haven't made a video in about a week because there really hasn't been anything to update for the past week, right? Bitcoin's been pretty much going sideways. ETH has been literally going sideways. XRP's been going sideways. Some altcoins have come down a little bit, but still above those April lows, looking for higher lows. Really not much to talk about, but obviously throughout these time periods where you get a little bit of fear in the market, I want to come on, give you a light head, look at where our invalidations are. Are we hitting our invalidations? Absolutely not. And just saying to you guys, nothing's really changed on the high time frames. All right. Climbing the wall of worry, you need bad news and bad sentiment for the market to continue higher. You don't want everything to be rosy. All right. When everything's rosy, that's the top. And I guarantee you, when we get up to this crypto will change the world point at higher prices, that everything will be rosy. Everything will be good news. Nothing will be bad. And that's the time that you want to get out of the market. All right. It's been your boy, Jordan Cameron. I hope you enjoyed the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Only 25% of you guys have subscribed. Smack that subscribe button, my friends. All right. I appreciate you guys very much. Road to 100K this year. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.